Hello, welcome back to the road to episode 8, my ongoing series where I chart the road to the release of Star Wars episode 8, The Last Jedi on the 15th of December 2017. A lot's gone on and I haven't really made many videos because sometimes that excitement isn't there, sometimes that build-up isn't quite there, and when it's taking years for a film to come to fruition, you know, you sometimes sag in your anticipation. Obviously I'm there for the big things, but there's been some little bits of news and things like that. The main one, I guess, that I haven't talked about, and it's, I guess, at least a month old by this point, so this is by in no means kind of breaking news, but the Han Solo movie. Let's talk about the Han Solo movie for a bit before we talk about any episode 8 stuff. The directors, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, they're off. They're gone. They were booted off, you know, amicably, supposedly. Apparently, the rumor has it the crew cheered when they heard the news. Who knows what's gone on? Apparently, you know, some of the kind of details that come out is that the film was turning into more of a comedy, which I don't know why Lucasfilm weren't expecting that when they hired comedy directors. You know, there was one quote that again could be completely untrue and unfounded, but someone said that it was more like Ace Ventura than Han Solo, and that is really worrying because Han Solo isn't this cartoon kind of comedy character. He's sardonic, he's sarcastic, but he's also stoic, you know, and yeah, you can kind of argue that as a kid, as a younger man, he could have been a bit more kind of wacky and stuff and more of a jokester, but yeah, it doesn't seem to fit the Han that we know, and it's a really tricky area when you go back and you kind of flesh out more of a character that has been established for 40 years as a fan favorite. It's a really tricky thing to kind of tinker around with, I think. And so Lucasfilm found an incredible director to take over from the film, being Ron Howard, one of my favorite directors. I think that he's an excellent director of films. Big fan of Ron Howard, and this was great news, but I don't know how much of a kind of hand he's going to have to play. Are they going to reshoot stuff? I mean, they've been filming for months and months. I mean, this wasn't a case of like Josh Trank where it's like, okay, he's not going to be directing this before we even get started. It was months and months. Apparently they weren't getting on too well with Kathleen Kennedy. That's another rumor out there. Who knows what the real story is, but it was a huge news piece when it came out that, you know, okay, these directors aren't working on it anymore. What's going to happen when the film comes out? Is it going to be directed by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller and Ron Howard, or directed by Ron Howard and 4 months of other stuff that some other people did? I don't know. So there's that. The composer for the Han Solo movie has also been announced, John Powell, who now joins Michael Giacchino and John Williams as the third person ever to compose and write a score for a Star Wars film. The name didn't ring any bells whatsoever. He's done a lot of animated work, the Shrek movies, the How to Train Your Dragon movies. He did music on the Bourne series, the Jason Bourne series, and also he did the score for X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which everyone hates, but I really like that film. It's nowhere near the first 2 X-Men movies, but the score in X-Men 3 I love. So if that's any indication, then I think they've probably got a good guy for the job, but it's, again, it's really difficult shoes to fill when you're doing a Star Wars score. So the Han Solo movie seems to be in a really weird area right now, and I'm still kind of going back and forth on what I even think about, you know, what's going to happen with this film. So we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose, and that is on the road to episode 8, is this other Star Wars film that's being made, and just like Rogue One, it seems like things are kind of coming up and isn't going as smoothly as they would have liked, unfortunately. Anyway, episode 8 stuff. Just some tiny bits and pieces. I read an interview with Gwendolyn Christie, who plays Captain Phasma in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and she said that she came to Rian Johnson, the writer and director of episode 8, that she came to him with ideas of what she thought the backstory of Captain Phasma was. So I'm assuming it wasn't really written or kind of, you know, laid out in The Force Awakens, in the making of The Force Awakens, I should say. And she said that Ryan was very receptive to her ideas, and they both kind of came up with her backstory, which I think is a really cool thing. And she really praised Rian Johnson as a director and how he let her come in and kind of, you know, put her own literal creative stamp on this character, which I think is really cool. Another little thing, which I have kind of a little interview on my phone here with Pablo Hidalgo, the classic kind of Star Wars canon master over at Lucasfilm, talking about the POGs. Yes, POGs. P-O-R-G. A POG is one of those little kind of puffin kind of creatures that live on the island, on the planet where Luke Skywalker has been for who knows how long in the events preceding The Force Awakens. So they talked about how, or Pablo Hidalgo talked about how Ryan came up with these, and he kind of fully hatched, so to speak, the idea of these creatures. And that they are realized through a variety of effects, depending on what's needed. Sometimes they're literal puppets, practical effects, with the puppeteers digitally removed from the shots. Other times they're entirely CGI. These seem like very cute characters, and I'm intrigued to see how much of a part they'll play in the film as far as, you know, cute side characters play in Star Wars. You know, you think of the Ewoks, or even you think of BB-8, you know, in the Force Awakens, and they look very cute. So yeah, and again, loving the marrying of practical and CGI. Yeah, we'll do CGI, but when we can, let's do a puppet, and I think that's really damn cool. There's also been some leaked images from Episode 8, not unlike the legendary leaked picture of Luke Skywalker that we had, I think, about 6 months before the release of The Force Awakens, where we saw him on some kind of stage in the white robe, kind of looking at the camera like, what the fuck are you doing, taking a picture of me right now? And that, I remember the feeling when I saw that image. I felt sick because I was so excited that Luke fucking Skywalker was back. And that's kind of the same images that we've seen that were leaked online. It's kind of behind the scenes stuff shot on kind of a you know, kind of photograph stage with like a blank background, and there's some really cool shots of Luke looking really moody and badass in this kind of brown robe. Rey in her new outfit with the lightsaber and stuff. I'm not going to show any of the images because they are leaked and stuff, but if you want to find them, you can find them. They're out there, and yeah. So I guess that's all caught up, really. Oh no, tell you what, I'll throw this one in there as well. We'll make this a bumper video in terms of news and stuff. There's a new series of books coming out, The Journey to the Last Jedi, where we're going to get a backstory, I think, on what Luke Skywalker's been up to, and also a book on Leia. And I read some of those Journey to the Force Awakens novels. They're young adult novels, but they were kind of nice and brisk to read last year. So, oh no, 2 years ago now it would be, in the lead up to the Force Awakens. So I might delve into those books. Also, Episode 9. The writing team for Episode 9 was going to be Colin Trevorrow and his writing partner, and they were going to put together the script for Episode 9, which Colin Trevorrow is directing. Now they've decided they're bringing in someone else to do the script. Jack Thorne, a British writer who's done work on various kind of scripts and various other projects. Some people say he's a great writer, some people are not a fan of his writing. The only thing I can base my opinion off Jack Thorne is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which I read the script book. I didn't get to go and see the play, and I think his writing is really good. But in dealing with a previously established franchise like Harry Potter, I have to admit, as much as I enjoyed The Cursed Child, as much of a thrill as I got reading it, it did feel a little fan-fiction-y, and there were a couple of beats in that Harry Potter and the Cursed Child that I thought were fundamentally unnecessary. Just things that you didn't need to see, things that had already been expressed in the Harry Potter books that characters didn't need to go back into. So I'm just hoping that that kind of a thread doesn't run through his Episode 9 script, where we have, you know, just stuff that we already knew about kind of being brought up and wasting time in Episode 9. Also, we have no idea what the capacity of him coming on to Episode 9 is, whether he is coming in to touch some things up on the script, whether he's coming in to kind of help retool the story without the involvement of Carrie Fisher as Leia, or whether he's doing a complete redo. We don't know. But, you know, Michael Arndt was kind of, you know, doing the script for Episode 7, and then he got kind of junked, and so obviously it can still turn out well, but I've really got quite an anxious feeling about Episode 9 with the director and the writer of it, I have to say. But I'm trying to focus on the positive, which is one of my favorite directors writing and directing Episode 8, so I'm just trying to focus on that right now, and I'm getting a bit more excited as the weeks roll on, because we're getting fairly close to the release now. We're in August currently, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months to go. We'll probably be getting another big trailer in the next 3 months or so, I would imagine. And also, I was watching some of the audio recordings of people watching The Force Awakens in the cinema, and like the reactions to all the big moments. I was watching those on YouTube the other day, and I got so excited, and it just brought me back to how incredible it was to see The Force Awakens in the cinema for the first time. So yeah, I'm getting a bit more amped up about it now, but we'll see what more news comes out, what more I can talk about. And yeah, so I just threw everything, all the bits and pieces that I had into this video. And if there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, Star Wars related, please let me know. I'd like to do more of this series, but I just kept letting it fall by the wayside, so I'm back here to do another video. And I think that's about it as far as big news and kind of notable events, things like that. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.